Gentlemen and ladies, it is time for some new BigTuna content. Today we have some Enhancement Shaman nerfs. These are actually released like, what, 4 days ago, but I've been on such a Diablo, crackhead, meth head, anime addict grind that's not even funny. I think out of the 4 days, or out of the 6 days Diablo has been out for early access, I've had 3 times more awakeness than sleepiness, alright? And that's all been going towards Diablo, alright? Some may say it's an unhealthy addiction, I call it determination. But we have some Enhancement Shaman nerfs, right? If you haven't heard it yet, you'll hear from me 4 days later after it was released. Alright, I'll show, I'll say what I think about it, if it's good, if it's bad, if it's reasonable, if it's, something that if they need to improve on. But, you know what? From what I've seen, it honestly kind of looks a little bit interesting. So we see here a developer's note. Again, I'm always in favor of developer notes. I think developer notes are great. Again, communication is a big thing that happens within the PvP community. That's a problem. So, the fact that it's getting a little bit smoothed out is pretty nice. So there are a few talents that are leading to fast kills that can feel unfair when facing an Enhancement Shaman. We are aiming to bring down the burst potential from cooldowns and increase sustained DPS. All right, that is one thing that they've been focusing on. I think ever since the last 2 patches of Dragonflight was increasing sustain instead of increasing burst for Enhancement Shaman, which I like it. It's something that we haven't seen in Blizzard a long time. Again, for however long WoW has been a burst heavy meta. Sustain damage was like, what the hell, that doesn't even exist. So now that they're doing it with Enhancement Shaman, I think it's pretty cool. So currently in the meta, it's all, again, just casters, mischievers. Obviously some stuff got nerfed recently. Not all the stuff, but some stuff got nerfed. And in terms of melee, Enhancement Shaman was definitely one of the shining stars of melee that kind of pierced the veil of casters, alright, which was pretty nice. But now we're getting nerfed, and for reasonable reasons, biasness, I don't know, maybe. But here, let's go off with Forceful Winds. Forceful Winds is now 75% effective in PvP combat. Pretty heavy nerf. Forceful Winds has always been one of those talents that Blizzard just hasn't had the best of luck trying to nail down. If they wanted to do damage, how much should the potency of each stack be? In 10.1, they made it so the consistency of Forceful Winds did more damage, which means the base damage of it did more damage, but it stacked a little bit less. So it stacked to 20% instead of 40% each stack, the way it used to be. And I guess that's what we liked. I liked it, having it was essentially the same damage. It was a little bit more damage just because, again, we have higher gear than last patch. But now that they're nerfing it again, it's a little bit questionable, but yeah, we'll kind of rock with it for a bit. But here we have another nerf. The damage increased to Lava Lash from Ashen Catalyst, now 33% effective. Your Lava Lash build is very potent. I think Lava Lash build has always been great. Ever since they buffed Lava Lash the first time around for Dragonflight in 10.5, was, Lava Lash definitely was like the go-to build. Obviously, you see me having fun with Storm Strike build and Doom Winds ascending, one-shotting people, but that's at lower ratings, alright? Obviously, the higher you get, the natural calamities that Enhancement Shaman faces, which is stuff like, being countered very easily, takes into place a lot more. Disarm stuns. The minute you turn into the, aerial ascendants with, schizophrenia, yeah, you're going to get CC'd, you're going to get, every control effect in the world in WoW will be placed on you, right? It's kind of sad, which is what makes Doom Wind's build a lot more less reliable, because again, it's not reliable. You're gonna get countered very easily, whereas your Lava Lash build, you're always gonna have damage, and that damage is just way higher. Except in that one window of Doom Winds, your damage is way higher for the entirety of the game. Or you're hitting 200k Lava Lashes, you're hitting about 200k lightning bolts and everything. It's pretty damn nutty. So the nerf into Ashen Catalyst for Lava Lash, right, which means your damage from your stacking effects is gonna be a little bit less. But you know what? We'll kind of see how that plays out today. Lava Lash now deals 35% increased damage. In PvP combat was 15%. Alright, again, you heard them. Increased sustained DPS. Alright, pretty nice. Physical damage increase from Feral Spirits is now 33% effective in PvP combat. Now, to be honest, I'm surprised this didn't get nerfed a long time ago. Not because it was like really strong. No, it was because of the fact that we have so many like physical damage modifiers that something like Feral Spirits that just was kind of like the cherry on top. And again, Feral Spirits is a strong cooldown nowadays because, or strong ability, because it's not a cooldown anymore. It's just something that you place into your rotation. You get it back every like 20 seconds, and boom, it's free Maelstrom. It's like like an extra 30% increased damage to your physical and to your or your magic damage. It was pretty strong that just something like that was just available every like 30 to 20 seconds. So they're nerfing the effectiveness of that. It's the same thing with your elemental damage. All right, fire, frost, lightning damage from your feral spirits is now 50% effective. All right, very unfortunate. Storm Strike now deals 75% increased damage in PvP combat, was 50%, and Wind Strike deals 75% damage increase in PvP combat, was 50%. So here's what I think. I think these are reasonable nerfs. I don't know. They're nerfs. They're nerfs. So the sustained DPS, I think, is obviously the good part. In today's world, sustained DPS for a lot of classes does not exist. Why? Because bursts, metas, tier sets, all that stuff plays into strengthening your cooldowns, and a lot of classes don't have sustained DPS. So Enhancement Shaman has always been the I'd say probably one of, if not the best, sustained DPS classes in the game, just because of how much damage you have just normally. And how much damage you have available, which is pretty nice. But obviously you're countered with effects like, oh, you die so easily, your armor is made out of second graders macaroni plate art, like, so yeah, it's stuff, problems like that. So they're buffing consistent damage. Storm Strike and Wind Strike now deal 75% increased damage in PvP combat. How do I feel about that? I don't know. The problem with your physical build is that the consistent damage was less than Lava Lash. Why? Because Lava Lash was just that much more potent. I'm not saying it was bad, I mean, just normal Storm Strike and Force of Winds could just, get the job done eventually. But it was a lot less than your Lava Lash. So they're buffing Storm Strike damage, which again, they've buffed Storm Strike damage in general, like a lot over the past seasons that Dragonflight has been out. And then Wind Strike again, Wind Strike itself, I mean, I was hitting for about like 80+K, which is, pretty nice, but now that's going to be a little bit higher. I don't know how I feel about that, in terms of a balance thing. And then we have obviously, the nerfs to your wolves, which is, I think, is going to hurt a lot, just because, again, that's one of your biggest damage modifiers being nerfed. And then obviously Ashen Catalyst, your stuff isn't going to stack as high in terms of, just raw damage, which is going to be unfortunate. And then the Force of Winds now being less effective, which is, again, one of the biggest, a big part of our damage for our burst and just a normal sustained DPS for our physical build. Pretty unfortunate. But do I feel like these are reasonable? Probably. I mean, like I said, Enhancement Shaman was definitely one of those shining stars for Melee in the Sea of Casters, which wasn't saying much because it still got doo-dooed on by everything, by, Destral Lock, Shadow Priests, every mage spec, Boomkins, Elemental Shamans, every caster in existence, would, can just crap on everything. So, yeah. So nerfing as a Shaman, obviously unfortunate, and the rest of Shaman as well. I am, rest of Shaman's my main healer. I don't know how I feel about we feel rest of Shaman is in a good spot. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe they're talking about PvE, but this tier set rest of Shaman is really bad. Even though I'm an RBG player, it's just super bad. The only thing it's good for is in EOTS, but that's about it. In Arena, this is just completely trash because you're not gonna center a game around a tier set AoE heal. Alright, it's not gonna, that's not how the game's not gonna play out in that favor. So I don't know about buffing Rain Dance at all. So, not a big fan of that. But yeah, Enhancement Shaman nerfs, definitely gonna hurt. Sustained DPS hopefully is higher, but something like Lava Lash, it was like, the sustained DPS came from stuff like Ashen Catalyst, so, and Ha Hand. So I am curious to see how that's gonna play out. I wonder if it's gonna be a little bit more even, but we'll have to see. So boys, hopefully you all enjoyed the video. I know I haven't been on at all. That's just because I've been on a Diablo grind. All right, it was like I told myself I was gonna take a break from WoW when Diablo came out, because WoW is just such an piss poor state in terms of meta, and it's not fun for me as DPS or healing. So, you know, Diablo's there to kind of refresh my mind until I get the urge to come back and, you know, suck out WoW again. But boys, hopefully you all enjoyed the videos. Link in the description if you want to see more BigTuna content. And of course, you gotta hit the subscribe button. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next live. Peace.